Sometimes there's not 5 in a thing.
I don't know. We'll repost our favorites, though.
Welcome to Good Mythical More. Man, that was some culinary chaos.
I think people think that was a joke when you said we're going to have the actual Surgeon General of the United States.
But it shouldn't be a joke.
And it'll be Chase in a suit. You know,
Yeah.
that's what we usually do.
Hold on, that's not what's happening, is it?
It's not Chase in a suit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Surgeon General of the United States of America.
Dr. Vivek Murphy, come on in. This is not Chase, guys.
Okay, all right, it is Chase, but no, Chase dresses up like all types of things around here.
Well, guys,
but he's never been a Surgeon General.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm going to tell you my name is not Chase, for the record.
Okay.
Good to see everyone, and Rhett, good to be with you today.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks for being on the show. We've never had a surgeon or a general. I mean, there's so many firsts happening. I don't think we've ever had anybody in uniform either.
Well, I'm
like
happy
a
you
real
could
one.
Kill 3 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can.
well, we don't, but we don't kill real birds either.
No, we don't do that.
We're lovers
No,
of birds.
Lovers of birds.
But I think the reason why I was given a reciprocating saw today was because you were in the wings. If you weren't here, who would have done surgery?
Right.
Can you do surgery? I mean,
Yeah, do you have
how literal should we be about the title?
Like a kit ready?
Well, I do not travel with a surgical bag, if that's your question.
That's a disappointment.
if I would have
Sorry
lopped
to
off,
disappoint.
if I would have lopped off a finger or more,
Well, I would have been more than happy to call 911 for you.
But you would have at least known things like, put it in the microwave, or whatever you're supposed to do with a finger. It's not that, is it?
I could have helped you stabilize you and get you to the hospital.
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Apply pressure, put it in the freezer. No, you know what? Let's just wait until that actually happens.
but well, no, let's not actually, because I want to make sure I'm not supposed to cook it in a microwave.
No, please do not cook your
I think you
finger in
just
the
put it on
microwave.
defrost so it keeps the blood flow, right?
No, please
Okay,
do not
we do
listen
not
to
do
that.
that. That is not true.
What about rat tails? Have you ever had a rat tail?
Well, I predominantly deal with humans, so
Okay.
I can't help you with
Oh.
rats. Sorry
No, I
about
mean
that.
like the guy who got everybody off the baseball team. He had a
those
braided
rat
rat tail,
tails.
like
But
a,
there's a dress code, right? You couldn't have
No,
couldn't have a
I-
mustache or a beard, or you couldn't have a rat tail.
No, we have a pretty strict code of when it comes to your appearance as well as your conduct.
That's the only reason I never applied for the position. Because I went to the place where they do it, and they were like, they were like, you can't have a beard, and I was like, have you seen me without a beard?
I thought you were talking about a rat tail. I was like, but you don't have a rat tail. I want to reserve the right to grow a rat tail.
Me without my beard, I can't. No one would trust me to do anything. No one would listen to me. I would have no authority.
Well, if you decide to ever shave your beard and you want to join, give me a call.
Okay,
And I'll
all
help
right.
you out. Okay.
Isn't there a height limit?
No, there's no height limit.
Okay, good. Because there is for the
It's not a fighter pilot.
the Navy. You can't be taller than like 6'4" because of the subs. I'm not talking about the sandwiches. I'm talking about the submarines.
Well, in the Public Health Service, which is the uniform that I wear and represent,
Okay.
you can be 6'4", you can be 6'5", you can be whatever height you want.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 feet tall.
That's great.
Okay,
that's my favorite height.
That's what I would choose to be if I could. That's what Link is.
That's what I am. That's why he wants to be it.
It would make picture taking so much easier.
It would. You wouldn't have to like spread your legs awkwardly.
Yeah, right.
Below the edge of a photo. He's doing it now too.
Yeah, I am.
He's sitting and he's doing it.
Let's talk about these e-cigarettes. Of course, I mean, I think we covered pretty much everything there is to know with our little analogy there. But you've got more authoritative information than we do, and it seems like, I mean, I know I've seen it. I've seen the children out there, not the children, but the young folks with the e-cigs as an alternative. They think it's an alternative. Why is that not the case?
Yes, well, we have a lot of young people who are using e-cigarettes
Right.
these days, and many of them are using them because they feel that e-cigarettes are not harmful, because they have seen advertisements for e-cigarettes, which are really common these days.
Right.
But many young people have also turned to e-cigarettes because of the flavors. And in fact, I brought a few props to show you some of these flavors and what e-cigarettes are. And you may not recognize the term e-cigarettes, but these devices are essentially devices that take nicotine, flavors, and other chemicals, and they convert them into an aerosol form so you
Right.
can inhale them. And sometimes
People call it the vape.
Yep. So sometimes
Yeah.
people call it,
Heard about
the
that.
vape, or they call it vaping pens.
They don't always put the in front though.
Well, people call it, vaping devices, vape pens. They
Yeah.
call them e-cigs, e-hookah. There are a lot of different names for it.
Right.
But you might
What you got?
recognize some of these because these are actually e-cigarettes. So this is one device where you put the e-cigarette liquid in it, and it's battery powered. And it allows you to inhale in aerosol form.
Now, don't do it.
I'm not going to do it. Don't worry.
We'll take your word
It's not good for you.
Thank you.
You're the one.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate that. You often educate me. But this is another one, another type of e-cigarette. And if you look at it closely, you'll see that it looks very much like a cigarette.
Yeah,
in terms of how thick it is, etc. So these come in different colors, they in different shapes, etc. But they all essentially do the same thing. Now, the flavors. Now, this is one example that I want to share with you. This is an e-juice. And I'm going to read you what it actually says. It says, a warm, fluffy blueberry donut dunked in a glass of milk.
Oh. Sounds horrible.
So this is,
and
you
it's
can
got
imagine,
a donut on it, and it says donuts.
But I bet it's not actually a donut, is it?
Well, I'm gonna let you actually smell this so you can.
I think
see
I
what
can
it
already
smells
smell
like.
a little bit of it,
Yep.
even before it's...
Exactly. I don't even have to open it. You could probably smell it.
Oh, yeah. It
Get
smells
that?
like a warm blueberry donut dumped in a warm, what is it?
glass of milk. It does. I mean, it's tempting. It's freaking tempting, which makes me a little angry. But you can open it.
Yeah, well, feel free to open it. You'll get the aroma even more strongly. But here's the key: if you
I broke
read,
the seal.
that's okay. If you read the front of the box or even the front of the bottle, you won't see any mention of the fact that this liquid actually contains nicotine in it.
So there's no warnings? They don't have to do the warnings yet?
Well, if you turn to the back, what you'll find is that there in
Okay.
small print,
smells like
very
candy, man.
small.
it lists that it contains nicotine.
Right.
But many kids aren't necessarily reading this, and many youth and young adults who buy these products don't read all of the fine print.
Yeah, the only thing I would read is donuts, fluffy, donut, milk. Like
Donuts are on there twice. Fluffy's
Right.
on there once, which is good enough for me. Now, and so people, obviously, I see why this is tempting to a kid. And then I think a lot of people are like, well, it's not smoke. And they're like, oh, because cigarettes have all the bad stuff in it, and it's like something's burning. And so then when I go over here to this stuff, it's totally cool, man. It's totally cool. Why is that an incorrect perspective?
Yeah, so while these are not traditional cigarettes, which are what we call combustibles, meaning that you actually you light them and then you actually have product that burns. Well, these are not actually that. They aren't safe for kids or for youth or young adults, and that's an important point to make. If you look at how many young people are using these products now, we went from having nearly no use by young people in 2010 to now having e-cigarettes be the most commonly used product by middle and high school students.
Wow.
There was
more than pencils?
most commonly used tobacco
Keyboards.
product.
Okay.
Yeah.
More
okay.
common than
Tobacco
pencils.
product.
They don't use pencils anymore anyway.
Right, the keyboards.
The keyboards.
That's why I thought it could be true.
Yeah.
But it's still alarming.
It is alarming, and what's important to know about the aerosol that comes out of e-cigarettes is it's not a harmless water vapor. It contains nicotine. It contains chemicals from the flavoring and the other additives. But the nicotine is really the point of concern here, because nicotine is a highly addictive substance, and most e-cigarettes do in fact contain nicotine. And nicotine is concerning not just because it's addictive, but because of the effect that it has on the developing brain. Now, when you're young, when you're in your adolescence or young adulthood,
I am currently.
very good.
He's in eighth
I'm in
grade.
my late teens.
Your late teens. That's what I assumed. Looking at your youthful complexion.
Mentally.
Yeah, well, okay, he's right about
So
that.
your brain is still developing. Then. And like many young people whose brains are still developing, that's a very sensitive phase.
Right.
And so when you expose the developing brain to nicotine, then that can lead to problems with learning and attention. It can actually increase the risk of mood disorders, and it can also increase your risk of addiction to other substances, even beyond nicotine and tobacco-related products. So, and this is a real concern, because when you look at folks who use e-cigarettes, at youth in particular, you find that they're twice as likely to be open to smoking traditional cigarettes compared to youth who don't use e-cigarettes.
Right.
So that's a real concern for me and for others in public health and medicine.
And they're ruining donuts.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's other things too, but I mean,
Well, donuts can be trouble too. I mean, you start with one and then you're at 12. That's what happens to me sometimes. Depends on how big the package is.
But they don't contain nicotine unless they're like a very weird donut.
Yeah, not the ones I'm
they're in a vape form.
Right.
Well, I'm certainly not here to endorse nicotine-containing donuts or eating 12 donuts at a time. Definitely don't do that.
Yeah, right.
But when it comes to e-cigarettes, so we have a big challenge, because we got to make sure that kids across the country and young people and young adults understand that e-cigarettes are not safe for you.
Yeah, and I think that, the thing that we covered in the video about and which you just talked about too, the developing brain stuff. I mean, before we started this conversation, not this conversation, but the conversation to have you on the show and make the amazingly amazing science, that was total news to me. I did not know that. I just knew, there's some chemicals in there. It's probably a bad thing, but
it can't be good for you.
Specifically, the nicotine thing having an impact on the developing brain. That was news to me. So I know so many things. I'm assuming that must be news to many of you as well.
Rhett. I know so many things. But I mean, we're super excited to have you on because you look great.
Well,
as well as everything else that you are. I'm very surprised that you came here, but but it is important. So we're glad to do our part to reinforce this important message to say, don't fall for this, kids.
Yeah.
Be your mythical best. That's how we put it. Be your mythical best, which now intrinsically means stay away from the nicotine.
Yeah.
Well, I like that message, and the most important thing that's going to help protect kids and youth and young adults from e-cigarettes is knowledge, is knowing that these are not safe for young folks whose brains are still developing, and we need to make sure as a society that we're helping get that education out there. That means we need to run media campaigns that help educate folks about this. We need parents and teachers to talk to their kids about e-cigarettes. But what's really powerful is peers talking to peers. It's like when young people talk to other young people and help them understand the risks of e-cigarettes, that can make a really big difference. So if you're currently using e-cigarettes, we want to make sure people understand the risks. If you're not using e-cigarettes, make sure that your friends understand that these are not products that are good for them.
Yeah. So
tell your friends.
Point your friends right back to this video and the main episode. I mean, we get views, and you also get great information. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Thanks for coming in.
Of course, I'm glad to be here.
So cool to meet you.
Thank you both. Thanks, Link. Thanks, Rhett.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for sticking around for Good Mythical More.
If you want to watch more, well, we don't have Good Mythical more, but we do have a lot more videos.
Here's 2 of them.
Also, click the circular channel icon to subscribe.